On this next video series, I'm going to show you some downfalls of some of the chassis and how to fix and repair the downfall. Hello HO Race fans, this is Kevin Vito Man 50, where we'll help you with tech, tips, and solutions with online video. If you're new to this channel, thanks for stopping by and definitely subscribe. We do videos like builds, information, and performance upgrades. Now on to the video. Okay, now we're back on the hopper mat again. It's kind of taking a beating, as you see. I've used the mess out of this mat. So one of these days I'll probably wash it off or buy another one, but it's taking a heck of a beating. I don't know if all Ians have these tools. This is a tire remover and a tire installer tool. There's another piece that goes on here to install tires, and this is the one where you put behind the tire and then you just pull it out. Okay, got a couple little tricks. This car here originally, this is an Auto World, this car originally, this gear here had a lot of problems bouncing up and down, so it ground a lot. Where this gear, how you can check them, what I've always done is hold the top gear and then spin the back tires. If the rims spin, you know you've got an issue. So what I've done is I've had a few techniques to kind of fix that and fix some of the problems with some of the Auto Worlds and some of the like magnet traction, non-magnet traction, stuff like that. What I've done, this is not an Auto World, but this is still just a standard magnet traction or non-magnet traction top motor plate. As you see, it's like pretty much Auto World's the same, a little bit different on the bottom here. What I've done is, what happens is this rivet here gets loose. They don't really run it down a lot because I think they're worried about it running it down too much. Even some of the old magnet traction, I've had a problem with it lifting up on this side. If it lifts up on this side and the gear moves up on that side and goes down on your side, it'll tend to see a heck in this inside gear here, and what it does, it doesn't actually mesh good with the bottom gear on your car. So what happens is, like I said, see how this one's a little bit tighter now. I've tightened it up, it don't move, but a lot of them over time they do tend to move. So what I've done, and I've learned a little bit on my own, is you can either take a pin with a round head on it, either a large or a small. This one's a large, that one's a small. It depends on what you need. On this chassis, you can use a small one. Take your tool, insert it in there, drop it in there. Now you got a ball. Back in the day, I used to take BBs, which I have a couple here. These are soft pellet BBs. They'll work the same. And put the chassis, the bottom of the chassis on here, and then just screw it down. Now it won't center itself, you'll have to kind of center it. There you go. And what you do is you tighten it to tighten that rivet up. Now the point is, you don't tighten it like crazy. You don't try to run that rivet down as far as you can. All you're doing is trying to run it down far enough where it'll tighten up the gear, and then you just keep checking it back and forth. If it doesn't move, you're okay. And just tighten it, and tighten it until you get it done. As you see how it sits on the bottom of that rivet, see that? And then this sits on the top of where the gear rivet on the top. See how that works? Boom, you just tighten it down and tighten it. Be careful how far you tighten it. Tighten a little bit of time, check it, a little bit of time, check it. Got to make sure that gear is not loose, but it's not tight enough where it won't work. Because if it's too tight, the car won't run. Okay, that's a great thing that I've been teaching a lot of the guys, trying to tighten up a lot of the chassis and everything. Again, it works with all non-magnet traction, magnet tractions, Auto Worlds, anything that has a rivet style gear on the very back. You have if you need to use the bigger one, which I have the bigger one actually set up so I don't get poked all the time. You just put the bigger one in, and you can set up the back end. I use this one to set up the back of this one because this is a bigger setup. But you see how that worked? It tightens up that little rivet in there, which tightens the gear up. This one's not that loose now. This one's pretty tight. Okay? There's that one. Now, to tighten up rivets on a chassis, what I used to do is I used to put a little something on the bottom here and take the BB and just whack it with a hammer. Most times I over tighten the darn things. As you can see, this one's kind of loose. This one's a little bit loose too. But what I found is you can take this one, put the BB in the little slot, okay, take it. Now this one's going to be a little hard to work with because the BB wants to fly out all the time. Okay, so put it in the slot. I don't know how good if we can get the shot good, but I'll show you once it's all done. Take it in here. Same thing, you just got to get it up in there. Set the BB down. Set it down on the BB. Like I said, this is going to be a little harder because it's not solid. If you want to try to develop something that makes it more solid, or something round that goes in there solid, that's on you. I haven't found anything that would work fantastically. And tighten this down to where it sits on top of the rivet. Same thing. I don't know if you can see that. See how it's sitting, the BB's sitting on top of the back rivet and inside on the inside. Same thing. Just tighten it down to where it doesn't, this doesn't matter because it doesn't matter how tight you get these as long as you don't destroy the rivet. But you see how that works? I mean, if you want to find something a little more flatter to put in, or like maybe another smaller BB, we'll do the same thing. And if this is how you wonder how guys are tightening up rivets, I don't know how they're doing it, but this is how I've done it. Boom. Tighten it up. Maybe it's not tight enough, but we'll find out. Man, that one tightened up really good. That one's real tight now. That one's real tight. Like you see, on some of them I used a hammer and a BB on top, and used like a little small chisel to set on and just whacked it. But sometimes on this it's not that bad. On this, if you whack it too hard, you could actually destroy the thing because it's hard to get inside that little pin there to knock it back out to loosen it back up. So that's a couple things on the chassis. And another thing I wanted to show you, I'm doing some paint work on this car, but check this out. You could take one of these, buy these in quantity. Voila, you can make a head out of it. Yeah, it's round, but at 300 or 400 miles an hour with the chassis, you won't know the difference. If you paint the helmet on there, I think it looks trick. I've done a couple of them. It turned out real nice. But there you go. Just take a pin, cut it down a little shorter, maybe cut the pin totally off. There you go. Glue it on there. Boom, you're done. And I use Tester's paint. Well, I've been using Tester's paint now, and it seems to work really good. It's the best paint I've used so far. But there you go. There's just a couple little tricks so far on a few of the chassis that you guys can use to help you tighten up the rivets on the bottom of the chassis to make sure it don't move anymore. See how this one's still moving? I don't know if you can see it in the shot. But that one's still moving. Now this one's tight. That one's real tight now compared to what it was. Okay, there's a couple little tidbits of information for pins. You can get these pins just about anywhere. Okay, this one I think is too small for a head. I don't know, you could probably use that one, but the guy would have a tiny little head. This one works better. The little larger one works a lot better for a head. Okay, remember, BBs works real good with these little cars. Okay. Okay, everybody, I just wanted to show you a few things I've done with my track in the last couple months or so. Down on the track here, I went ahead and got these pit area scenery. Started getting them. I only got 3 for now, but eventually I'm going to start collecting these like crazy. I went ahead and did the outside edge of the track before. This was all brown, and we did it with masonite. And then I rounded the edge off and then painted the outside edge black. And I put this white tape on, and then what I'm going to probably do is go mark it and put red, and leave it white, red, white on some of it. I'm going to probably do the inside here the same way. Okay, what I did here is this is the train road bed, and I went to 16th inch balsa wood underneath of it. I cut it just a little short so you can't see it, and I pressed up against here. Now this is not screwed down, but you see it's not moving anywhere. This thing is not going to move anywhere. And I went around here. I started over there in the corner. I went around here, and I cut this out too and painted it just like I did the other. And what I did is I took and cut this edge to go down to the road bed. And then what I did is I went ahead and put this black down here, which made it look like asphalt going down. Then I finally got my timing system hooked up. I put these little pieces in the thing here, front here. That's like one of them pencil thing or pens for, you know, cushions deals. I'm going to put that now, but eventually I'm going to put something over top of the gate here and people walking across, just like a regular deal. And then I went down through here. I did the same thing on both sides. See how I did this here on this side with the green and the black, and I screwed everything down, and it's all nice and, you know, nice here. It's not moving any way. All the way down. I screwed all the way down through here. I'll eventually paint the head of the screws black so you won't see it. Then I did the same thing here with the masonite. I went around the corner over to there, and then again I went to the 16th balsa wood, and then went to the 3/16 road bed and did on the inside. So it's not moving now. Went all the way around and did onto the other side, all the way around here and to the other side is what I did. Eventually it's going to be here and here with this too. I'm going to have it the same here on the outside and the same here on the inside the same way, because see, the stuff bends pretty easily. Okay. Then what I'll do is on the other side, and you see I did the same here. I'm going to do the same here with the black. I'm going to paint this black and screw this down. And if you see what I did here, I had a friend of mine go ahead and paint what he used. He used these pieces of they're like sponge pieces that I got. I think I showed you guys in a previous video. The sponge deal to go ahead, and I'm laying it against here. And what he did is, look, he painted this all across here with trees and everything, all the way down. And see this, I've got a grandstand here. I thought that turned out pretty cool. I hope everybody else likes it, because I think it turned out really nice. And the same thing here, I went ahead and redid this here all the way out just to see what it looked like. I might have to tinker a little bit because it's kind of messed up in a couple places. I'll have to tinker with this a little bit more. But eventually I'll do the same thing, and I'll paint the inside here and do trees and foliage and stuff. And then this is the incoming gate here. That's the little shack for them to bring everybody into the complex. And then this is going to be a road right up through here. And then the tractor trailer rigs and everything are going to come up in this area here and drive up through here. I think he did a really nice job with clouds and everything. And I don't know if anybody noticed, but I changed this to blue. See how I did this in blue? It was black. I'll tell you one thing, changing it just to blue itself totally brightened up the room. Shocking. I didn't think it would do that too much. And like I said, same here. I'm going to go ahead and take and screw all this down. And if you look, he went all the way around here, and it's all the way around the track. And I think it looks trick. Did a nice job. And then just something really cool to tell you. Went ahead, and that's cars, but that one's called planes. And it's exactly the right size. That's the scale that we need. I'm going to go ahead and do some more to it. It needs, this is supposed to go up and down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put in different levels here and put people with binoculars and, you know, crews and stuff like that, and have some people walking up and down here. But this is the right size. I picked it up at a flea market for $2. It was in a brand new box. It's called Planes. Just like cars, but that show planes. So just to show you that, if you guys want to do like a tower or something, that's pretty slick. Okay. As you see, some of the downfalls on some chassis are simpler to fix than others. This is where a good start, and I will keep going on this and show you some of the other things that need to be done. Thanks, and keep your pin in the slot.